All right, well, we are talking about Fire Prevention Week. Firefighters have been educating residents about the dangers of kitchen fires. Jane Zook from the Colorado Springs Fire Department is here to tell us how to prevent those fires. Good morning.
Good morning.
A lot of the fires that the fire department responds to start in the kitchen, right? That's a huge majority of them.
Yes. The number one cause of fires in the home is in the kitchen, and they're totally preventable. And nationwide, it's the number one cause of fires in homes, and that's unattended cooking. And here in Colorado Springs, it's the same cause.
Okay, so what are some things that can really be a hazard in the kitchen?
Sure. So we can start with some easy prevention tips, making sure you have a clear workspace, especially no junk mail or kids' hot projects or homework on the stove.
Right, a lot of people, they just set it there on the counter when they come home and forget about it, right?
Right, so we want to have a clear workspace, and then when you do start cooking, the key is to really never leave it alone. So we really don't want unattended cooking. And really good ways to remember that you're cooking something is set a timer or put an oven mitt in your pocket, and as you walk around or leave the kitchen, you remember that you're doing something. Use the buddy system. Ask your spouse or your kids to remind you that you're cooking something, and just easy ways to remember that we're cooking something on the stove.
Isn't it true? A lot of people say, oh, I left the kitchen for 1 minute,
Yes.
1 minute. So they can really start up pretty quickly, the fires.
Yes, and fires, especially if you're using animal fats or you're using vegetable oils, they really grow quickly, and you know they're totally avoidable. So we really want to prevent those from even happening. But if you do have a fire in the kitchen, especially on the stovetop, the easiest way to put it out is to smother it.
Okay.
So there are common myths. People say maybe put baking soda or flour.
I've heard
or
that.
of course water on a fire, but those are things you never want to put on a grease fire. So
Okay.
the easiest thing to do is to just take away the oxygen source, smother it with a lid, or if you have a cookie sheet and you have a big fire, you want to get away from the fire, just slide that over the top of the pan and make sure that that fire's out by taking away the oxygen, turn off the heat on the stove, and walk away. And you know, another thing that mistakes that people make is that they try to move the pan from the stove, and sometimes when they're moving the pan, those greases splatter, and we've seen some really bad burns to extremities and faces. So it's really important to never try to move it. And also really try to never fight a fire that's too large. People sometimes get themselves into trouble with trying to fight a fire that's too large. And of course we want you to get out and activate the 911 system and make sure you get help.
Right, so call firefighters. We're going to talk about fire prevention throughout the morning today. Some tips to keep your family safe, because obviously you don't think about the kitchen, but that is a major hazard from time to time. So more with Jane coming up in just a little bit. We will be right back. It is now 6:48.